Today is a day we've been waiting for. What exactly is photosynthesis and how does it work and what does it make? Let's dive in because last time we talked about the history and realized plants are doing something really funny, producing oxygen, but not depleting their soil. So let's see, what is it that plants are up to? Those sneaky little quiet things that never move. We've seen this basic equation, hopefully. The basic idea of photosynthesis, you take water, carbon dioxide, add some light, and voila, sugar and oxygen. Thank goodness for oxygen because we need it to survive. No complex life exists without oxygen. So photosynthesis again happens in the chloroplasts, which are the green pigmented things in plant tissues, especially their leaves, and the stomata, which are little pores that kind of open and close to let in carbon dioxide and to let out oxygen. So stomata just means pore, like a pore in your skin. It's an open that opens and closes. And their primary job is so that plants don't lose too much water. So they generally have their stomata closed during the daytime. So they're kind of like holding their breath because they don't want to lose water. They'll open their stomata at night. And if you like to be a language nerd, stomata is the plural, stoma is the singular. The more you know. The other part of it is we need the roots to absorb water from the soil. Leaves do not absorb water. This is why you have a houseplant, you water the roots, you water the soil, not the leaves. Unless you have an air plant, in which case, specialness. And the trunk and the branches support the whole plant, but then they transport water from the roots up to the leaves and also transport sugars from the leaves from photosynthesis down to the roots for storage. This is where we get maple syrup too. Let's talk about light reactions. The basic idea of the light reactions is they provide energy to break water apart. So if you look at this, lots of light happening here. Focus in. So you have all the light from the sun. This happens, you guessed it, during the daytime. Plants use water from the roots, transport it through the trunk and stem. And their main job here is to break apart water because we need the OHs and the hydrogens to do work for us. Basically, these recharges called ATP, the energy molecule, and NADPH, which we'll get to that function in a minute. But this is where we kick out oxygen. All right, so that's the light reactions, and their main job, provide energy to break water apart. Let me get my normal pen back. Okay, that's it, the light reactions. I have to issue a textbook correction. Plants need oxygen to survive. This is a major misconception. Remember, in plant cells, from the first unit, plants also had mitochondria. Mitochondria are what do cellular respiration and are what break apart sugar, glucose, in order to make energy. So plants do use oxygen in their mitochondria to power everything in their cells. Same as in all animal and all fungal cells. All right. Big red. If the textbook asks it probably won't because it's not a big deal. But on the SATs, or if you're playing Jeopardy in the future, don't be fooled. Plants need oxygen. If you deprive a plant of oxygen, it will not last. It will produce its own oxygen, but if you take away all its oxygen permanently, it needs those too. All right. My public service announcements about the textbook correction complete. Let's move on to the dark reactions. In the dark reactions, we use CO2 pulled in from the atmosphere, powered by ATP and NADPH in light reactions. So the goal here is we're going to take the carbon dioxide and with the energy garnered from the light reactions, the ATP and NADPH, which we use to help build glucose molecules, to the dark reactions to create sugars. These are a really cool set of reactions. This is a huge simplification. When I took AP Biology and Biology in college, I had to know all these reactions in detail, not just to have a magic loop that conveniently changed carbon dioxide into sugar. So in the dark reactions, CO2 is broken down in order to build glucose. And this is powered by ATP and NADPH, which were we charged up from the light reactions. All right, so those are the two major categories of reactions in photosynthesis, the light reactions and the dark reactions. And these go by different names. So if you hear of Calvin cycle or Krebs cycle, these are parts of these two sets of reactions. But remember, this is a simplification, just so we get some better understanding of what's going on. So usually we see photosynthesis written out like this: H2O, water, right? H2O, CO2, carbon dioxide, magically goes to glucose, C6H12O6, 6 carbons. These are H12s, 12 hydrogens, 6 oxygens, and O2. The problem with writing it this way is it's not really accurate, because if we look at it again, there's something funny going on. Remember, matter is conserved. Your products and your reactants have to have the same amount of stuff. So if we count, we say, hey, we have 2 hydrogens here from water, 3 oxygen, 1 from water, 2 from carbon dioxide, and 1 carbon. But when we look at the other side, we have 12 hydrogens, 8 oxygens, 6 carbons. So as convenient as this reaction is, it's not accurate. And if you've had chemistry, you've already learned about balancing equations, so you know this isn't accurate. If you haven't had chemistry, again, you have to have the same amount of stuff on both sides, because matter doesn't magically pop into existence. We have to say, where does it come from? Remember, this is an overall equation. Photosynthesis is way more complicated than just this. And in your textbook, it walks you through step by step, how do we figure out the balancing part? And we just need to find a way to get the left and the right side equal to each other. So I'm going to let the book cover that part. I won't recap the whole way you balance it. We can just skip ahead for the sake of brevity. And once you balance, we say, all right, this is the actual balanced ones. To make photosynthesis happen, we don't need 1 water, we need 6 waters. We need not 1 carbon dioxide, but 6 carbon dioxides. That's what those big letters mean. How many individual water molecules or carbon dioxide molecules we have. And notice we have, let me get my pen back, 6 carbons here, 6 carbons here. So the carbons in glucose all come from the atmosphere. All right, let me say it again. The carbons from glucose. Carbon is the major building block of all living things. It comes from carbon dioxide. This includes all the carbon in your body, which is, again, carbon is the building block for all life that we know of. We've never discovered, and we don't expect really to discover, living things as we know them on Earth to be built of anything else. This has to do with how carbon can form bonds and form very large complex molecules and be very stable. Point being, all the carbons in glucose come from where? They come from carbon dioxide, from the atmosphere. All right, so if we look at, break it down, say, hey, we have 12 hydrogens, 6 H2Os, 6 times 2 is 12, right? 6 times 2 gives us 12. 18 oxygens, 6 here, and 6 times 2, 12, 18 here, and 6 carbons from carbon dioxide. That gives us on the right side 12 hydrogens, 18 oxygens, and 6 carbons. So now we know we're balanced. We've accounted for, and also we've seen pretty convincingly, hey, plants make food literally out of air and sunlight. That is literally what, I mean, it's just crazy to think about. They can turn the atmosphere into food, into structures of life. Just, it's worth marinating in. It's how amazing biology truly is. All right, so a really helpful review is table 3.4 in this section. Highly recommend star that table. Make a note yourself, hey, go to table 3.4 and use that as a review. So it's a great job tying it all together. All right, so photosynthesis, remember, shows us that plants get their mass from the atmosphere around them. They use water as well, but primarily the mass is coming from carbon. Okay, have I said that enough? I think 4 or 5 times. So that's about it. So thank you guys for all of your attention. We will go over this in class. It's a lot to cover. And I will see you guys in class. If you have questions, you know where to find me.